Welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm Nikki Wallman. The observance of Shabbat, or the Jewish Sabbath, is one of the 10 Commandments, but is one of the least understood areas of Jewish life. Many who don't generally observe Shabbat may regard it as a period of stifling constrictions or day of prayer. But for those that do, it is a time that is eagerly anticipated throughout the week, when one can set aside the weekday concerns and devote oneself to higher pursuits.
Every life, every culture needs its intervals, like a symphony needs an interval between movements, like a book needs its chapter breaks. So life needs its breaks and pauses, or we will find ourselves like Macbeth, thinking of time as tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps on this petty pace from day to day. And that is the secret, one of the great secrets of the fact that the Jewish people, the oldest religion in the West, remains eternally young. Because we built Shabbat into the system. Years back, I was asked by the BBC to do a documentary program on the state of the family in Britain, not Jewish families, just families in general. And I thought it might be interesting, I don't know quite why I did this, but I thought it might be interesting to take a non-Jewish lady, Britain's leading child care expert at the time, a lady called Penelope Leach, who wrote all the authoritative books on bringing up children. And I thought, let's take her to a Jewish primary school to see the way we educate our kids, and let's see what this encounter between Jewish kids at a Jewish school and the country's leading expert in childcare. And so we took her to one of our primary schools on Erev Shabbat on Friday morning, where they were doing, I suppose you do it here, a mock Shabbat, you know, with the 5-year-old mommy and daddy and the 5-year-old Bubba and Zayda and the 5-year-old guest and all that. And she's absolutely fascinated by this. She never saw in a school children acting out adult roles like this, and she began talking to the kids. What do you like about Shabbos? What don't you like about Shabbos? She took this little 5-year-old boy. What don't you like on Shabbos? Shabbos, you can't watch television, it's all, you know. What do you like about Shabbos? And this 5-year-old boy, Mesiach Lefi Tumo, without thinking what he was saying, is, what I like about Shabbos is it's the only time in the week when Daddy does not have to rush off. And as we were leaving the school, she turned to me and said, Chief Rabbi, that Shabbos of yours is saving their parents' marriages. What an insight from a lady who'd never seen a Jewish school before. The truth is that Shabbos is the most brilliant form of time management ever invented. I'm sure if you've read all those wonderful books called 7 Habits of Highly something or others, you will know that the first principle of time management is to distinguish the things that are important and the things that are urgent. And as you know, what tends to get lost in the thrust and pressure of daily life are the things that are important but not urgent. And they tend to get crowded out. And that's what Shabbat is, a day for the things that are important but not urgent. Number 1, family, spending time together as a family. Nowadays, nobody has any time to spend together as a family, so they call it in England quality time. You know what quality time is? Quality time is the substitute for quantity time. Did you know in Britain today, half the families in Britain don't even own a dining table? Did you know that? They come in one after the other, they take the food out of the freezer, they stick it in the microwave. It's called serial grazing. Nobody sits down to eat a meal anymore. We just had news 4 days ago in the national press, believe it or not, that in Britain, 44% of parents, when they want to talk to their children, even if the children are at that moment in the same house, they send them a text. Can you really believe this? And whatever happened to face-to-face communication? Whatever happened to it? The truth is, it's being lost out there. Shabbos means we will never lose that. And so there is the miracle of Shabbat. 33 centuries ago, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us Shabbos to free us from the tyranny of slavery. Today, Shabbat frees us from the tyranny of tweets and texts and Facebook updates. It frees us from the tyranny of being on call 24/7. It frees us from the tyranny of the consumer society and of the individualism that is damaging families and communities. And it frees us from this crazy, frenetic pace of the modern world in which you can be so busy making a living that you hardly have time to live. Shabbat is the day when we stop and let our blessings catch up with us. Let's keep Shabbat and regain control over our lives. Let's keep Shabbat and restore and renew our families and our communities. Let's keep Shabbat so that instead of worrying about what we don't have, we thank God for what we do have. Let's keep Shabbat.
Shabbat, the Sabbath, has always been a time when Jewish families allow the demands of work and the stresses of everyday living to be put on the back burner, to reconnect with one another and open the channels of communication that are often lost during the workday week. This year at Sinai in Darba, Chief Rabbi Warren Goldstein announced an initiative to enable all members of the Jewish community to observe Shabbat on the weekend of the 11th of October. Amongst those who have already committed to the Shabbat project are Dr. Ali Bacher, Tony Leon, and Nick Rabinowitz.
Shabbat holds our lives together. We live in a world, as Chief Rabbi Sachs mentioned, that there are so many forces that pull us apart from one another. Forces of technology, forces of stress and pressures that pull us apart as individuals, at our heart and our soul, and affect our mental health and our physical health. And then there are forces that pull our families apart. And what Shabbat gives us is that precious time to hold it together, to keep it together, to experience what it is to reconnect as families and reconnect as human beings and reconnect with Hashem, keeping it together. That is what Shabbos does. It holds our world together, and that is what the Shabbos Project is all about. And we are launching it tonight. The campaign will unfold in the days, weeks, and months ahead, and we will learn together and do this together as a community, because it gives us that unique opportunity, which is captured in one picture. The great Maggid of Dubna, who was a genius, one of our great sages, a genius in capturing an idea in a picture. And he said, you know what it's like? He said, he gives the following parable, that there was a poor man who was walking in the road, and he was carrying a heavy suitcase of all of his goods, carrying it and schlepping it along the way. And a wealthy man came by in his carriage, and he saw the poor man struggling, and he stopped the carriage, and he offered him a lift, and he brought him onto the carriage. And a little while later, the wealthy man turned around, and he sees that the poor man is still holding the suitcase above his head. And he said, well, why don't you put your bags down? And the poor man answered, he said, you know, I feel so bad. You've given me a lift, and you've added extra weight for the horses on the carriage. The least that I can do is carry my own bag. And the wealthy man says, but you don't understand, I'm carrying you anyway. And I'm carrying your bag anyway. You may as well just put it down. Said the Dubna Maggid, that is what Shabbos is about. Hashem says to us, I'm carrying you anyway. Put down your bags. That for one day a week, we can just stop and put down our stresses, our worries, our anxieties, all of the things that pull apart our lives, and we can just put it down because Hashem is carrying us. And it's a gift. It is the only mitzvah which the Gemara refers to as a gift, a matana. It's a gift. And that is the magic of Shabbos, this incredible gift. And what we need to do as the South African Jewish community is to reclaim that gift, is to reclaim our heritage, is to reclaim the magic that generations of Jews have experienced, and we're going to do it together. The Shabbos Project launching right here, right now, at Sinai Indaba 3 here in Cape Town. The Shabbos Project in October, keeping it together. We as the South African Jewish community will link arms and do something magical and rediscover the incredible uplifting heritage that we have, and uplift and transform our lives and capture that incredible gift that Jews for generations have enjoyed, the incredible gift of Shabbat.
Well, that brings us to the end of this week's show, and for me, to the end of 6 wonderful years with Simcha. We do launch our new series next Sunday with some exciting new faces, but for me, it is goodbye. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and may Hashem grace you with his richest blessings. As always, from me, Nikki, shalom, and have a safe and peaceful week.